Welcome to the Nelson Show. What is the American dream? Well, tonight we've got a few guests that can shed some light on the American dream and what it is and how to achieve it. So without further ado, I'd like to invite Holden Caulfield onto the set tonight. Here we go. Now, welcome, Holden Caulfield.
Hey, great to see you, man.
Thank you. Great to see you too. Let's sit.
All right.
So, Holden, please tell me about your personal life.
Well, Mr. Nelson, my personal life has been kind of hectic, you could say, over the past couple of years. Only about 2 weeks ago, there was this girl named Sally, right? She's a very nice girl. I know her from school. So I take the gentleman I take her out to a play, right? A nice play in New York City, Broadway. I mean, it's nice. The date's going fine. And at the intermission, you won't believe what happened. She sees someone she knows from another boarding school.
Really?
The biggest phony I have ever seen.
A phony, you said? What do you mean by phony?
A phony? He's someone that he just, I can't explain it. He's a person that I can't stand him. I personally think most people in the world are phonies. They just conform to all the social norms of America, and they all act the same way. And he was literally talking to her. He was chewing the fat with her for 20 good minutes about the play.
20 minutes?
Acting like he knew what he was talking about. He had no idea. It was insane, Mr. Nelson. It was insane. I cannot believe it.
So I'm guessing because he's so phony, he's very mature. Tell me about your maturity, how it's changed, how it's evolved over the years.
Well, actually, that's a very good question, Brian. Over the years, I'd say probably about 2 years ago, I was enrolled in boarding school. I hated it. I hated everything about it. I had this roommate, pimple-faced, most annoying kid. He always stole my stuff. He thought he was better than me. So guess what? I just got out of there. I just left the biggest, phoniest place I've ever seen. Every teacher, every kid, you would not believe it. But one thing I've learned, I was kind of, you could say I was a maverick for a while. I was going out on my own. Yes, I was going out solo. I was kind of seeing the world. I was not happy though. I was very displeased. That was when I met Sally. I mean, after that date didn't go well, I wasn't too happy. But then, one person that really got me to look at the world in a different way was my sister, Phoebe.
Phoebe. Now tell me about Phoebe.
Phoebe, she's only about 6 years old. I mean, she's a really smart kid. You should see her though. She is one of my most favorite people. She's the only person I say I could trust. Not even my parents. I have the most respect for her and her opinions.
Okay, so let me get this straight. Your 6-year-old sister Phoebe.
Yes.
You consider her to be more adult than, say, your parents in trust, in maturity.
I just say she says things and looks at a view of the world in a way that I understand and I agree with. Okay, she looks at it, and one thing she taught me, and which really changed my life around, was she taught me that I don't need to keep running away from the world. I don't need to keep running away. I don't need to hate everybody and everything. I need to accept. One thing I can never accept change. She said things change, and that's a part of life. Yes, exactly. And once I realized this, then I feel like I was on the right track.
Okay. So how has your perspective or your view of adulthood changed throughout the years, through boarding school, through this date, through talking to your sister Phoebe?
It's one thing I've realized, and I've really grown on this, and I feel a lot happier now that I know this, is that I feel adulthood is a necessary part of life, and although I might not want to become a part of society, I'm going to have to, and if I learn to embrace it, then I would be successful.
Okay. So, based on that, how specifically would you say that your view has changed as it pertains to trying to reach your dreams as an American citizen, as a human being, as a citizen of the world? How has that perspective changed?
Well, Brian, I'll tell you this. I now have an astute goal in life. I've changed my life around. I'm back in school. I'm in the sort of rehabilitory place right now, and they say in a couple months I can go back to regular school, and this is how it's going to plan out. I feel like my dream right now, my American dream, is that if I embrace society, and if I go into it and put my heart into it, and fully believe in what I can be, then I'll be successful instead of hating everything and that has gotten me nowhere but scared and confused over the last couple of years.
So, believe and you will achieve is what
Believe and I will achieve, yes.
Okay.
Accept change, yes.
Accept change, and change is a good thing.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right, great talking to you.
America, welcome back to the Brian Nelson Show. Tonight, we have Tim O'Brien, author of The Things They Carried, a Vietnam vet who was drafted in the 60s. He's here to talk about his book, The Things They Carried. Let's welcome him. Tim, it's great to have you on the show.
Thank you.
Hey, great to see you.
Hey, Tim. Okay. Tim, so in your book, you talk about the draft and your feelings about the draft in the 60s. So can you share some of your feelings about the draft and what was going on at the time to the audience at home?
So, interesting story about that. I was actually, before the war, when I got my draft card, I was actually on a lake, and I saw Canadian territory, and it made me really tempted to go there because, you know, I didn't want to go into the Vietnam War at all. Like that, I was very scared of it. I didn't want to have anything to do with it. So it was Canada right there. I could have gone, but you know what? I decided to support my country and support all the people with fighting against communism. So I didn't really like the draft. I was really against it, but in the end, I just had to face my fears and help out the country.
Okay. After the war, so you've been drafted, you've been in combat, you were in country for a few years, you made some friends, you went through some things, some horrible things that I'm sure none of us could ever imagine just by sitting here. We actually have to be there. Your title, The Things That They Carried. What kind of things did you carry after the war?
Well, during the war, physically, I had to carry a lot of weight, over 100 pounds of weight on my long journey throughout Vietnam. But after the war, I had to cope with my best friend Kiowa's death, who I think I single-handedly lost. So, I mean, coming back, that was very difficult. It was really hard just to have on my mind my best friend's death.
Can you tell us a little bit about Kiowa, or just how did he die, if you're comfortable?
Well, Kiowa, just to me, represents how life can just quickly, how you can just quickly lose life subtly, and basically, he, I can't do this, but so I kind of feel responsible, but he was my best friend, and it just shows what can happen to you. This is very difficult.
I'm sorry. So you feel responsible for his death in a way?
In a way, yes.
So, Tim, how have you been able to cope with your best friend's death?
Well, recently I've taken a trip to Vietnam, and I was able to visit the site of Kiowa's death, where I stepped in the mud that he died at, left his moccasins there, and that really let me release my guilt for his death. Kiowa wouldn't want me to live like this, so now I've just become a better person since that trip.
Okay. Moving forward past the war and into the future, past Kiowa's death, what dreams do you have as an American, as a human being? Just what dreams are you looking forward to achieving and are striving for?
Well, I'm definitely looking to better the rights of veterans. I think we deserve a lot more than what we have. Another thing I'd like to do is talk to veterans who are having difficulty letting go of what has happened in the war, and just basically explain and tutor them the same process I've used to become a better person and cope with society.
Okay, thank you. Next up, we have Lenny. Our next guest is a migrant worker from California. Please welcome Lenny Small. Lenny, come on out here. It's so good to have you on the show.
Nice
Come
to
on,
meet you.
come on, Lenny. Good job.
Hey, Tim. Hey.
So Lenny, tell me and Tim about some of the hardships that you faced as working as a migrant worker in California.
Well, it was a lot of hard work. Me and George had to carry a lot of things, and I don't know. At the end of the day, I got to play with the puppies, which I like that. I like the puppies.
Now, please tell us, who is George?
Oh, George is my friend. He helps me out, and I take care of George too. We help each other out.
So Lenny, what are your dreams? Lenny, what are your dreams?
Well, I don't really want to work anymore because it's too hard, and I want to tend the rabbits and have the fun with George. Yeah, I like tending the rabbits. I want to be free too. Freedom is good,
So you want to be free from having to work and be treated like nothing.
Yeah.
You just want freedom.
Yeah, and the rabbits. Don't forget
Oh,
about the
of
rabbits.
course not. So, yeah, freedom.
But yeah, freedom and the rabbits. That's basically what I want.
Okay. Next up on our show, we have a man who has seen the American vision and who has chased after it and achieved it. Without further ado, Jay Gatsby. Mr. Gatsby, it's great to have you on.
Nice to meet you too.
So, Jay, how did you get to where you are today?
Well, it all started when I was born in North Dakota, and I was raised there as a kid, but when I turned 19, I enlisted in the military. But afterwards, I met this other man. His name was Dan Cody, and he pretty much got me into bootlegging. He's the reason I am where I am today, and that's why I'm a great businessman. I owe him a lot of credit for that.
So, Gatsby, who's the love of your life?
Love of my life, it would have to be this woman I've known for many years. Her name is Daisy Buchanan.
Very good. So, for a man who has everything, you're still missing the love of your life. You've reached the American dream of having the most money, having every physical possession, but yet you're still unhappy. Mostly because you're missing the love of your life. Is the American dream more than just having everything? Do you need the love of your life to fully reach the American dream, fully be happy?